Hey there. I'm so glad you're interested in learning about the exciting things happening with the moon in March. This month, we're in for something really special, a total lunar eclipse. It's going to be an incredible sight, and I'd love to walk you through what's happening and how you can experience it. March is always a significant month for the moon, and this year, we're going to see something truly amazing. The lunar eclipse will begin with the moon dimming, almost as if it's disappearing. Then, out of nowhere, it will turn into a deep blood orange color, creating a stunning display in the night sky. This total lunar eclipse, happening in March 2025, is the first one we've had since 2022, so it's been a while, and it's definitely worth watching. Now let's talk about how you can catch this amazing event and what's going on during the eclipse. It's all tied to the alignment of the Earth, the Moon, and the Sun. During the eclipse, the Moon will be completely covered by the Earth's shadow, and that's when it will glow in those breathtaking red and orange hues. If you're curious about the Moon itself, from March 13th to 14th, we'll experience a full moon, which goes by several names, like the worm moon, eagle moon, and crow comes back moon. These names come from the changing seasons and nature, with March being the time when worms start to appear as the ground thaws. But because we'll also have a total lunar eclipse, we're calling it the full blood worm moon this time around. It's a rare opportunity to witness the moon's reddish color, enhanced by the eclipse. So, how does this all work? Why does the moon turn red? The explanation is in the way the Earth, Moon, and Sun line up. The moon orbits Earth, and when it's in the right position, it passes through Earth's shadow, making it appear to change color. The sunlight that bends around the Earth and passes through its atmosphere is rich in red and orange tones, which gives the moon that striking crimson hue. It's like the colors you see during a sunset or sunrise, beautiful and warm. If you were standing on the moon, you'd see the Earth glowing with a ring of red light, created by sunrises and sunsets happening around the world. This is the same light that gives the moon its red glow during the eclipse. So, make sure you don't miss this rare chance to witness such a beautiful and unusual event. It's a perfect time to look up and enjoy the wonder of nature. The time is the next topic we will discuss. We are aware of how it works, but we would want to demonstrate it. It is necessary for us to get up in the middle of the night in order to take a really amazing picture. With everything being in Eastern Daylight Time, the complete lunar eclipse will officially begin at 11:57 p.m. on March 13th, but the true time to see it will be on March 14th. You can watch it here. When the Earth is in a certain alignment with the Sun, the Moon may sometimes be subjected to a large interaction with the shadow cast by the Earth. Due to the fact that the Earth spins in such a way that it goes around the Sun, this phenomenon takes place. The occurrence of this phenomena, which is known as a lunar eclipse, takes place when the Earth moves in between the Sun and the Moon, causing the shadow of the Earth to fall on the Moon. This phenomenon is known as a lunar eclipse. Two separate shadows are created by the Earth, the penumbra and the umbra. Both of these shadows are unique from one another. The manner in which these shadows migrate is a crucial factor that contributes to the alteration that occurs in the look of the moon during the eclipse. When sunlight is stretched out and only partially blocked, a shadow known as the penumbra is produced. This shadow is only partially obscured. The moon is still illuminated in this zone, but the brightness of its illumination is not as strong as it would be if it were fully free from the shadow created by the Earth. This is because the moon is still illuminated in this region. On the other hand, if we talk about the umbra, we are referring to the whole shadow that is projected by the Earth. Because it is a complete barrier of sunlight, the moon does not get any direct sunlight when it is within the umbra. This is because the moon is surrounded by the umbra. It is difficult to notice the moon's gradual darkening as it moves further into the penumbra, because the change is so subtle that it is impossible to see at first. One reason for this is because the moon is now heading into the penumbra. As the moon moves further into the penumbra, the shadow will start to extend outward from the moon's perimeter and gradually spread outward. This will happen as the moon moves farther into the penumbra. During this protracted and gradual darkening process, there's only a very little shadow that can be seen on the moon. This shadow is only visible through the moon's surface. In contrast, the shift becomes far more noticeable as the moon advances deeper into the shadow created by the Earth and into the umbra. This occurs when the moon moves into the umbra. The moon is entirely encompassed by the shadow that is thrown by the Earth at this time, and the contrast between the two seems to be rather obvious. When the moon approaches the umbra, it starts to change color, and the brightness that it ordinarily radiates, which is silvery and brilliant white, starts to go away. This transition starts at around 1 in the morning, when the moon begins to move into the penumbral shadow. This marks the beginning of this modification. Although it will be visible from a large number of sites all around the world, the time at which it will be seen will change depending on where someone is located. At the outset, the alterations are not as noticeable as they seem. The brightness of the moon will gradually decline, and the brilliant, pure, white light that we are used to seeing from a full moon will seem to be slightly lessened. This occurs as a result of the progressive reduction in the moon's brightness. It is possible that you may not notice much of a change in color when you gaze at the moon at this time, but around about 1:09 in the morning, you will start to realize that half of the moon's surface will be covered in shadow. In the beginning, the penumbral shadow only obscures the moon to a limited extent. But as more and more of the moon moves into the shadow, the picture of the moon will get gradually darker. Over the course of time, the distinction will grow more evident, and then it will no longer seem to be a full moon in the traditional sense. It is likely that it will seem to be more of a crescent shape, particularly in the beginning, as the shadow of the Earth continues to cover one side of the moon to an increasing degree. This is especially true in the beginning. There will be a lot of big visual adjustments that you will see during the duration of the event, and this is only the beginning of them. During the course of the eclipse, the moon will begin to travel into the umbra, which is the shadow that the Earth throws over the whole globe for the duration of the eclipse. Following the beginning of totality at 2:26 in the morning, the shift into the umbra will be visible to the naked eye. This will be the beginning of the fullness of the situation. During the time of totality, the moon is fully obscured by the shadow that is thrown by the Earth. During the period of the eclipse that is referred to as totality, the eclipse reveals its complete splendor. The darkness is becoming more intense as the moon moves further into the umbra, and the moon is starting to take on a striking scarlet hue. This is all due to the fact that the moon is traveling farther into the umbra. This happens as a consequence of the Earth's atmosphere dispersing sunlight, which causes the remaining light that reaches the moon to be partly filtered and stained with red. This is the reason why this phenomenon takes place. As a result of the Earth's atmosphere acting as a large lens, sunlight is twisted around the globe, and during an eclipse, the moon is lighted by a dull red glow. This phenomenon is known as a lunar eclipse. It is about around this point that the moon will go through a substantial transformation in terms of its appearance. The moon which was formerly bright and well known, would seem to be hidden by darkness in this scenario. This would be a change from its previous appearance. It is possible for the intense red-orange colors to be shocking and often odd, which gives the moon an appearance that is ethereal and even otherworldly. Because of this, the moon seems to be from another universe. The intense crimson color is frequently referred to as the blood moon, owing to the severity of its hue, and it has the potential to be an exceptionally spectacular sight to see that is worth observing. Regardless of the conditions, it will always be a time of outstanding importance. The colors fluctuate depending on factors such as the transparency of the Earth's atmosphere. But, regardless of the circumstances, it always will. The sight of the crimson tones that sweep across the surface of the moon is a celestial phenomenon that is both uncommon and stunning. There is a possibility that these tones may continue for a number of minutes, providing viewers with enough opportunity to take in the scene. The moon will be fully veiled by the shadow created by the Earth during the period of totality, and it will not receive any sunlight during this time. Light with a reddish hue that has traveled through the atmosphere of the Earth will be the only source of lighting that will be able to illuminate the moon. This light will be available to enlighten the moon. It is because of this that the moon seems to be much more mysterious and alluring than it really is. Those individuals who are lucky enough to be present at the event will certainly have an experience that they will never forget. In the event that you are in the right place at the right time, you will have the chance to see this extraordinary phenomenon and be totally absorbed in its majesty. There will be a crucial moment during the eclipse that will occur at around 2:59 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, EDT. A vital moment will occur. At this precise instant, the moon will be totally encircled by hues that are red and orange. The eclipse is at its most intense at this moment in time, which marks the completion of the event it has been culminating in. This moment will be witnessed simultaneously by everyone in both North and South America, and no one will be able to miss out on getting a glimpse of this spectacular image at any point in time. As a result of the fact that the event will take place at the same time for everyone inside these zones, regardless of whether you are on the East Coast or the West Coast, it is essential to make sure that your clock is changed accordingly. When the moon is entirely covered in the shadow formed by the Earth at exactly 2:59 in the morning, the red and orange hues will be at their most apparent. This will be the moment when the moon is at its brightest. At this same moment, it is optimal to look upward. In the event that you are going to be present at the event, it would be disappointing if you were to miss out on this stunning visual spectacle. The total eclipse will reach its conclusion of totality around 3:31 in the morning, which will be the point when the moon will begin to move out of the umbra of the Earth. This will be the moment when the eclipse will be considered complete. During the time when the eclipse is beginning to wind down, this will take place. The moon begins to shine brightly once again as soon as it emerges from the umbra that has been around it. The moon will gradually emerge from the umbra, which will result in a gradual shift back to the moon's characteristic shiny appearance. This will take place over the course of many hours. There will be a gradual decrease in the red and orange glow, and the moon will become more visible in the white light that it normally emits. In the event that the moon continues to shine, this will take place. The moon will begin to emerge stronger at around 4:30 in the morning, although it will still be fairly veiled at this point in time for the moon to be seen. During this period of time, the shadow that is projected by the Earth will gradually diminish, causing it to take on the appearance of a crescent moon. As a result of the fact that the moon will continue to be positioned under the penumbra of the Earth for an extended period of time, it will not yet regain its full brilliance. After 6 o'clock in the morning, there will be no more eclipses that occur. After some period of time has passed, the moon will have returned to its regular appearance of a full moon, and the event will have taken place. In spite of the fact that the moon will be setting at this very time, just as it would on any other day, the memories of the lunar eclipse will continue to be exceptionally clear in your mind. In spite of the fact that the event, which only lasts for a few hours, has come to an end, the visual spectacle that it provides is really outstanding throughout its whole. One of the most remarkable and unusual phenomena that you will not have the chance to see very often is a total lunar eclipse, especially one that has such vivid color differences. This is because you will not have the opportunity to witness it very often. At the core of the visual attractiveness of a lunar eclipse is the fact that it occurs so seldom. Only when the moon is in its orbit to such a degree that it is perfectly positioned during a full moon is it possible for the moon to undergo an eclipse. In this exact instant, the Earth, the moon, and the sun are all in such a position that the shadow of the Earth may be projected straight onto the moon. This is a very unusual occurrence. Complete lunar eclipses are not something that occur on a regular basis, since this specific alignment is so rare. This is the reason why they are so rare. Before another full lunar eclipse occurs in your vicinity, it is likely that it may be years or even decades before it happens again. Perhaps at any point in the future, this will take place. As a result, when it does take place, you should make sure that you allow yourself the time to completely experience this extraordinary happening. An alarm should be set, you should stay awake, and you should look up at the sky because you will have the opportunity to see one of the most stunning and majestic displays that nature has to give. It is strongly suggested that you do all of these things